For the Suns, these have been 2 big weeks for Stuart Dew. So in all that Tony Cochrane said on the couch those few weeks ago, what was really clear was they couldn't back out of this season 1-10, 0-11, as had been their history. They lost to North Melbourne in a very winnable game in that last quarter where they weren't able to put it together. And then they've taken Richmond and they've taken the Giants. That plays really heavily for the faith that they have and that they want reinforced with their coach.
They ran Richmond off their feet and then they were just so stoic on the weekend, Gerard. It was backs to the wall. We're just talking about how the Giants blew it. But the opposition, they just had to stand up. I wrote in the paper today, Stu should have shouted the back 6 defenders some beers on the bus back to Melbourne. They were under siege back there, and they've got some really good young defenders. So we always talk about what do these defeats do to the psyche of the team? Oh, what were the young kids? Oh, will they want to go home? And everyone's really quick to jump on that when they lose. What about when they win? What's the psyche of these young players now when they can come down and win and beat GWS, beat Richmond, 2 big wins in Melbourne? These young kids must be thinking, hey, this is looking good. Have you signed yet? Are you signing? You signing?
I think it's not about the external conversation with the Suns. It's about the internal faith. Do they believe in their coach? They desperately want to, and now they've got 2 good weeks to reinforce that. And do the players believe in what they're growing? And these 2 weeks help.
Yeah, no, help. Enormous.
Yeah. So that wouldn't want to be the end of the back half of their season because that history sits so damningly against them. But it gives them a foundation point for the back part. So we've done that. We know this works. You know, that they get to take a swing at the Dogs next.
It changes the coaching narrative from Stuart Dew. If we do this, if we do this, if we do this, we'll be in this game. Now it's when we do that, look what happens when we play like that. And when we defend and look at our stoppage work and our back 6 work together and we work really hard in the forward line. But they're building a little bit of ticker. You know, they blew apart the Tigers, blew them apart. And this week was really guts, mate. It was it's fantastic for them.
So Richmond were confronting yesterday, that period in the last quarter. So we came out of the bye, they coughed up the game against West Coast getting overrun, and we pondered, out of respect and good faith, could they run the table and make a run at it? Or they've lost to the teams that have been in 13th, 16th and 16th in those 3 weeks since the bye. And if you're holding on to an old idea now. We joked this morning around the time of death was declared. It was 6:41 last night.
Rest in peace, the Tigers.
For this season. The words were there. I watched Jack and the ferociousness in his voice and the look in his eye. Good luck playing us on the way home.
Yeah.
And Damien Hardwick, who'd pilloried the idea as people are just searching for headlines. Nope.
No.
Is for the words that you're putting forward, the will is no longer there. We watch that was... They got listlessly overrun by a team who is not a power-scoring team.
Headline in my paper this morning was lost their will and lost their way, and I heard you this morning say the word will. Really great teams at different times. They're up by 20 points in the last quarter. They put their foot to the throat, and we've seen the Tigers do that for 3.5 years. Really? You're going to be that? Watch this. Watch our next 20. We're going to put on 8. We'll end up beating you by 60 points. And they didn't have it in them. They just didn't have 3 tackles, Gerard, in the final quarter. 3 tackles. It looked like circle work. It looked like... And Collingwood showed last week in the final quarter they were getting some ball movement back and they just blew them away. So...
It felt to me like they didn't see Collingwood coming and they didn't react. And it was over just so quickly before they were ready to engage in the battle.
So we can talk about Richmond Collective, and we can do that, and we can talk about the individuals.
So Trent Cotchin is very much front of mind, isn't it?
Yeah, for me...
You've written about this tomorrow.
Yeah, for me it is. For me it is. He is the captain. He's in a career slump. He's contested possessions, his disposals, his clearances. The last time they were this low was 2009, Gerard. Now, that just goes to show you what a champion and what a great, great player Trent Cotchin has been. And Damien Hardwick spoke about, you know, the game's changed and I think he's protecting his captain a little bit. There's a lot of stoppages. There's more stoppages this year in the last month than Richmond have had in the last 5 years. Cotchin's out of form. You know, he was a defensive midfielder. He went to a defensive midfielder, so he's on this side of the stoppage. He had runners everywhere. Lambert, Prestia, Martin. Who else is out injured? Shane Edwards. They're not playing. So he's sort of being thrust back into a freewheeling mid, and it's just not working. And everyone's sort of talking about, should he go on? Should he be captain? He's a pretty proud guy. I don't know Cochin really, really well, but mate, he's a street fighter when it comes to footy. He really is. And everyone says, oh, he's losing the plot, he's getting aggressive. No, that's his competitiveness coming out in him. And I think people are misreading that. Anyway, there's a watch on Koch, there's a watch on Richmond, there's a watch on a lot of players at Richmond. Can they get it back? It
was telling that Hardwick in his press conference stepped away from the front line and spoke of the future and flooding young players.
Yep.
So the truth will only be told in hindsight as to when he knew, but he knows, like we all know. You can't give up. You can't give up on the fight.
They're not giving up. Yeah, they're not giving up.
But
make no mistake.
He knows precisely. It is dramatic that this team, which has defined the past 4 years, is staring at missing the finals.
Someone said this, and remind me, you're quite right, and someone said this in life, in footy. I can't remember. When it happens quickly. And you might say, geez, this has happened quickly. In the past month, we've watched lost. Oh, so much for easy draws coming home.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got an easy schedule. They've lost 4 in a row. Three-quarter time yesterday, everyone thought, OK, like you said earlier, 20 points up. See how we go.
That live ladder, I was sitting there going, and I did not see that.
When it happens quickly, Gerard. So if no one claims that, I'll claim that.
I imagine it was Lee Matthews. Most of these things are.
Yeah, no, it probably was lethal.